CA19112 from Group 23. For this assignment, our group have chosen Windows 10 for Windows variant and Ubuntu for Linux variant. So Windows 10 is a series of operating systems produced by the American multinational technology company Microsoft and released as part of its Windows NT family of operating systems. The general availability build of Windows 10 was first released on 15th July 2015 to Windows Insider channels for pre-launch testing prior to its formal release. Then Windows 10 became generally available on July 29, 2015. There are 10 versions released by Windows 10 so far. The first one is version 1507, then 1511, version 1607, version 1703, version 1709, 1803, 1809, 1903, 1909, and 2004. So all of them have their feature updates, and for example, for version 2004, it has faster and easier access to Bluetooth setting and pairing. It has greater integration with Android smartphone on the Your Phone app, and the ability to use Windows Hello without the need of a password, and there are a lot more.
Now we are going to talk about Ubuntu. But before that, let's talk about Linux. What is Linux? Linux is an open source of operating system based on Unix, which created in 1991. Linux is a software which sits underneath of all of other software on a computer. It also comes with a graphical user interface or GUI with some software that are used on a daily basis. So, Ubuntu Linux is the various Linux operating system. In history, Ubuntu is a newcomer. Many people use Ubuntu. So, Ubuntu have gained the respect of both experienced and novice Linux users. Usually, Ubuntu Linux takes 6 months to update the new version, maybe. But in Ubuntu, the program runs in low privilege and can't corrupt the operating system or any other files. It also supports full disk encryption as well as encryption of homes and private directories.
A very good day, I bid to Dr. Ramiza and my fellow classmates. I'm Danisha Devan and my matrical number is CA19114. Today, I will be talking about memory management for Windows and Linux. The Memory Manager implements virtual memory, provides a core set of services such as memory mapped files, copy on write memory, large memory support, and underlying support for the Sachet Manager. Each process on a 32-byte Microsoft Windows has its own virtual address space that enables adjusting for up to 4 GB of memory, whereas for the 64-bit window, it has a virtual address space of 8 TB. A few functions of the virtual memory are: it can reserve a range of a processor's virtual address space. Next, it can specify read-write, read-only, or no access for the range of committed pages, whereas the standard allocation functions always allocate pages with read-write access. Additionally, it also decommits a range of committed pages, releasing their physical storage and making it available for subsequent allocation by any process. Another function is it will lock one or more pages of committed memory into physical memory so that the system cannot swap the pages out for the paging file. Followed by, the memory management would obtain information about a range of pages in a virtual address space for the calling process or a specific process. Linux supports a virtual memory that is using a hard disk as an extension of RAM so that the effective size of a usable memory grows correspondingly. The kernel will write the contents of a currently unused block of memory to the hard disk so that the memory can be used for another purpose. When the original contents are needed again, they are read back into the memory. This is all made completely transparent to the user. Programs running under Linux only see a larger amount of memory available and do not notice the part of them resides on the disk from time to time. Of course, reading and writing the hard disk is slower than using real memory, so the program don't run as fast. The part of the hard disk that is used as virtual memory is called swap space. Now we go on to the minimum system requirements. So for Windows 10, the 32-bit version is 1 GB of RAM, while for the 64-bit version is 2 GB of RAM. 1 GB of RAM for a 32-bit version is sufficient for basic use like web browsing, email, and so on. Whereas 1 GB of RAM is not sufficient for heavier usage like web browsing by opening several tabs at once. However, 2 GB of RAM will be able to do almost everything and anything for Windows 10 64-bit version in a computer such as gaming, video editing, and many more. It is still considered slow for Windows 10 if heavy-duty apps such as Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Premiere Pro are being used. Whereas the minimum system requirements for Linux Ubuntu is 512 MB of RAM for the 32-bit or the 64-bit version. However, it is advised that 1 GB of RAM would be more ideal for a comfortable use. When comparing Windows 10 with Linux Ubuntu, it is obvious that Linux is normal usage utilizes its memory more efficiently because it only needs 512 MB of RAM. Whereas, when comparing Windows 10 with Linux Ubuntu in terms of server usage, it is yet again obvious that Linux Ubuntu is far way better as it has a better performance rate on modern hardware when compared to Windows 10, whereby the performance slows down as the hardware becomes older and outdated. That is all from me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Yamunawahthi. My matrix number is CB18042. So my part is a process management. What is process management? Process management involves various tasks like creation, scheduling, termination of processes, and a deadlock. Process is a program that is under execution, which is an important part of modern day operating systems. So I'm going to read my first question, which is focus on how both operating systems handle their process management when it's come to many process requests for CPU resources. So I've created a table to show the comparison between the Windows and Linux. So one of the example in Windows, every process has unique ID and every process has priorities. In Linux, root owner of the machine has all the control over the system and everything is considered as a file. One of the basic scenario that we can relate to this is a multi-programming, because there can be more than one instance of a program loaded in memory at the same time. For example, more than one user could be executing the same program, each user having separate copies of the program loaded into memories. Here I have attached a diagram that shows the task manager in Windows 10 and system monitor in Ubuntu. My second question, explain the operating system effect with various CPU type. I have chosen i7, Intel Xeon and AMD. The table shows that the comparison between the Windows and Linux based on the i7, AMD and Intel Xeon. For i7, the Windows is slower in creating threads. Meanwhile, in Linux, it's faster in creating threads more than the Windows. In AMD, the Windows installation is slower. Meanwhile, in Linux, the Linux installation is faster. Intel Xeon, the installation is easiest in Windows, but the installation is quite difficult in Linux. So I'm going to my last question, which is compare and recommend which operating system utilizes its process more efficient in terms of normal usage and server usage. Here's my table shows that the comparison between the Linux and Windows based on the normal usage and the server usage. So as a conclusion, from the table, I can say for the desktop usage, Windows is definitely better. The reason is Windows has better GPU driver. So the GUI is more responsive. Playing Windows on web page, example YouTube, consume less power and generally smoother. Linux is lighter than Windows. Windows servers has to bundle with GUI and it runs more services than the minimum installation of Linux server. So my conclusion for this chapter is CPI type for Windows 10 and Ubuntu is based on my research. I can conclude that the Intel are comfortable to use in Windows 10 and Ubuntu. It is because Intel manufacture outsmart by installing a technology. It does not make a sound. Logically, when it's used in a processor, it will make the processor is not noisy while working. At the same time, Intel is better in Windows 10 compared to Ubuntu. So, my recommend for more efficient in terms of processor. Based on my explanation, Windows 10 is more preferable for normal usage compared to Ubuntu that is more suitable for the server usage. The most obvious advantage is that the Linux is free where Windows is not. Windows license cost is different for both desktop and server version. In case of Linux, either it can be desktop or server comes with no cost. In the Windows world, you can modify the OS as its source code is not open source. Thank you.
I am Renuga Saravanan would like to explain about the file management of Windows 10 and Ubuntu. File Explorer is the file management application used by Windows operating system to browse folders and files. So in Windows 10, File Explorer feature a new ribbon toolbar. The ribbon toolbar has 4 tabs, which are File, Home, Share, and View. And then there's also navigation pane. In navigation pane, we have quick access toolbar, OneDrive, synced folders, and this PC. There are also frequent folders. which features the folders that work with recently to allow quick access for them. Hierarchical file system. In hierarchical file system, the folders, drives, and files are displayed in group, which allow users to see the file they are interested. So in Windows, we have two types of file, which are system file and normal file. System file are usually located in specific folders that are identified as system folders, and these files are hidden. In normal file are usually stored in this PC in preferred folders by the users. So the second question was about naming convention. These are the fundamental rules enable application to create and process valid names for files and directories. So these are the rules. One of the rules are use a backslash as required as a part of volume names, and do not assume case sensitivity, and then do not use these following reserved names for file names. And question 3, it was about system files. System files are hidden by default. They are also not shown in search results. And these files are often changed automatically during the system updates or application installation. Deleting, renaming, moving, changing these files could cause a complete failure for the system. So these are the steps to show the hidden files in Windows. Next is Ubuntu. Ubuntu features a personal home directory with subdirectories already set up for document, music, pictures, videos, and downloads. There are three types of files: general file, directory file, and device file. So for file listing, we can use ls command. To create files, we can use pi command. To display file content, we can use cat command. And this command can be used to create directories. This command can be used to remove directory, and this command can be used to change the directory. So for change the permission, we can use chmod command. File hierarchy. Ubuntu organizes files in hierarchical trees. So directories can contain other directories as well as regular files, which are the leaves of the tree. There are two types of file as well in Ubuntu, which are system file and normal file. Linux also distinguish between normal file and hidden files, which are often configuration files that are usually do not want to access or see as a normal user. And normal file will be stored under directories. So the second question about naming convention, all the file names are case sensitive. So we can use uppercase and lowercase letters, numbers, dot and underscore symbols. So no need to use dot in file name, and can use dot base file name extension to identify file. For example, .ch for shell file, .tar.gz for compressed archives. So the third question was about system file. Similar to Windows, Linux also distinguish between normal and hidden files, which are often configuration files that I usually do not want to access or see as a normal user. In Linux, hidden files are indicated by a dot in front. For example, .hidden file. In order to access hidden file, we can switch the view in File Manager. That's all from me. Thank you.
Now we are going to the security management, which both of the Windows 10 and the Ubuntu handle their security management. First, user and password authentication and management. Windows 10, user and password are organized by the account which boot in for the offline and Microsoft account for online account. But the Windows 10 treat the online account as same as the offline account. But I advise you to use the online account because it has more features on it. For Ubuntu, the user and password is stored in offline system. It is focusing on security. This idea is great, but it is short in time. So the second thing, securing kernel from the unauthorized access. In Windows 10, policy settings determine which programs are allowed to impersonate a user or another specified account to act on behalf of the user. The user could elevate the unauthorized user's permission to administrative or system level. In Ubuntu, users are allowed to use a tool by the name of sudo to carry out system admin duties. The sudo will allow an authorized user to temporarily elevate their privilege using their own password. How both of the Windows 10 and Ubuntu handle an attempt to hack our system from being hacked. Okay, first, related third-party hardware or software if needed. In Windows 10, they built in Windows Defender and Windows Firewall that protect the security of the computer, such as Windows Defender Antivirus, Windows Edge, and Windows Firewall. We also can install the third-party antivirus, which are Avast Antivirus, AVG Antivirus, or maybe Kaspersky. It is because it will increase our security in our computer. For Ubuntu, built-in virus protection is a simplification of the security features in Ubuntu. It requires applications to be run as super users to cause any damage. That includes AppArmor to supplement that. Second, mechanism to preventing. In Windows 10, we have to make sure to switch on all of the built-in security features so that we will know if there's any virus enter in our computer. We have to make sure to scan our computer regularly so that we can know whether there's any bug, any worms, any threat or virus in our computer, and make sure to update when there's any new update, because every update will send a path to security code. For Ubuntu, if you don't have SSH key, just turn off the internet connection, because if you turn on the internet connection, your Ubuntu will be exposed as it is online. So we have 3 rows of SSH, which is the rows 1 and 2. We don't have to use password authentication, and the rows 3 is all keys have the passphrases. If you have no passphrase key, may as well not be a key at all.